Hello everyone and welcome back to the JP on Comms channel. In today's video I'm going to be bringing you yet another edition of the All You Need to Know series, and we're going to be taking a look at the Stones' fourth summer signing, Henry Woods from Gillingham. So if you did miss the announcement yesterday at 6 PM on the 27th of June, then you will not have known that Henry Woods of Gillingham has joined the Stones on what I believe to be a one-year deal. As I usually say, unless it's stated otherwise, I will assume it is a one-year deal at this level as per most non-league clubs. However, Henry Woods has joined the Stones on a permanent deal from Gillingham after playing a full season on loan at Dover last year. So what did he do at Dover last year, which may have caught the eye of some of the members of staff at the Gallagher? Well, Henry Woods plays in that midfield position, and he is someone who is quite a utility man. He's someone who can play in that 8 role across the centre of the midfield, a little bit deeper as that 6, sort of a playmaking role, and then he can play in a slightly more advanced position in that 10 role, in that sort of attacking midfield slot. He is someone who can pick up the ball and drive with it quite successfully. I did watch quite a few clips from his season with Dover last year. Now, of course, given the situation at Dover with their point deduction and, of course, their issues around building that squad last year, they were relegated quite convincingly with just the 1 point after the point deductions throughout the season. So it is going to be difficult to judge any player amongst that squad. However, Henry Woods has got a little bit of pedigree behind him, as he has impressed in loan spells at Concord Rangers in the past as well, with 2 stints there. And of course, in his time with Gillingham before those loan moves, he was someone who was quite successful in their academy teams. He did end up winning the under-18s league with Gillingham. He did also score a hat-trick in pre-season with the Gillingham first team back in 2018-19 season. So he is someone who is able to find the net. He did manage to score a fantastic goal against Maidstone in the last season for Dover. He also managed to bag an assist in that same game. And given my personal research, having looked at all of his appearances through the highlight videos that Dover uploaded last season, he did only manage to achieve that 1 goal and 1 assist. But again, in that Dover team and that position that he does play, it is always going to be hard to boost your statistics in a poorly performing team. However, I do believe that the main reason that Hakan Hayretin and Terry Harris would have been looking at Henry Woods for the Stones is because of his ability to get around the field. Upon watching some of his highlight clips last year, I was quite impressed with how he managed to get around the field. He's someone who can be found in many different positions around the pitch. As I did mention, he can play anywhere across that midfield, a little bit deeper, a little bit more forward, or just in that central role. But depending on where he's playing is often where you can see him. However, that doesn't mean that if he's playing deeper, he won't try and get forward and help the team out in that aspect. And if he's playing in that more advanced position, he is also found tracking back quite regularly. So it's good to have a player who has got that mindset to help the team wherever they may be on the field. He's someone who does have a little bit of a tendency to shoot from range. From what I saw, again, against Woking, he did have a really good run straight through the midfield, beating a couple of players and getting a good shot off, which was saved well by the keeper. And of course, that goal I mentioned against Maidstone was from range, about 22-23 yards out into the top right-hand corner. So by honing this ability to shoot from range, we might be able to see Henry Woods increase his output for the Stones in the upcoming season. In the last season for Dover, he did also pick up 10 yellow cards in the 40 games he played, 38 of which were starts, 2 substitutions. And of course, this is maybe an indicator of his tenacity, his ability to kind of get around the pitch, get stuck in, someone who may be a little bit more involved within the game. And I think in that central midfield position, it is important to stamp your authority in games. No red cards, of course, which is always a good thing. And I did notice that most of his yellow cards were picked up in that second half between the 45th and the 75th minute, which means, once he has picked up that yellow card, he's more than capable of holding himself back and showing that restraint to not pick up a red. So he can be disciplined once he's actually in the book. And I think 10 yellow cards in 40 games, of course, isn't necessarily bad for the position he was playing in that Dover team as well. But when it comes to Dover, of course, as I mentioned before, you can't necessarily gauge someone's ability based off that team from last season. So if we take a little look back to his performances with Gillingham. He is someone who's quite highly rated. I've been looking around some of the fan forums and Twitter posts and things like that, and a few Gillingham fans were, quite confident that he might be making his way back to the Football League. Hopefully not with Maidstone, they did manage to say, but rivalries aside, it's someone who they do respect as a player in general. Obviously, you get your few negative comments from around the Football League and, of course, some of the Dover fans, but they got relegated, so they're probably not going to be big fans of many of the players in that team from last season. But as I say, Henry Woods is a young player. He's only 22 years of age, and I think his first full season at a professional club was actually with Dover last season. So, because of COVID, obviously that played a massive role in the amount of game time he's able to get in these early stages of his career, and hopefully, having gained that National League experience of 40 games last season, no matter the team, he's going to be a little bit more familiar now, coming back with Maidstone against some of the opposition. So hopefully, in a more cohesive unit and a more structured team, with the management team that we've got behind the squad, of course, compared to the instability that was at Dover last season, we may be able to see Henry Woods flourish a little bit more within this Maidstone United system. So to just round things off about Henry Woods, let's have a quick chat about his physical profile. He is, as I said, a 22-year-old midfielder. He is just over 6'1" from what I can find things online. There's a couple of contrasting things. Again, can't always take these online sources as gospel. However, if you do watch his clips, he is quite a tall player, quite an imposing figure on the field. He, again, is rather physical when it comes to putting himself about. He can win a header, he can win a duel. So again, that's going to bode well. He's going to slot in as one of the tallest players in our team, and definitely the tallest in our midfield, with Sam Corner and Regan Booty being in there. And of course, we haven't really had that taller midfielder for a little while now, especially in that defensive position. Michael Phillips, of course, not being 6'1", and then you've got players like Stuart Lewis who have featured in that Maidstone defensive midfield position in recent years. So we haven't necessarily had that tall holding man if he does decide to play there or is played there by Hakan. So it's going to be interesting to see this different dynamic of a slightly bigger man in that midfield, what sort of role he's going to be playing, whether it is that attacking option or that defensive option. Of course, we will be finding out very shortly with the pre-season commencing in just a couple of weeks. However, I do have the faith, of course, in Hakan and Terry to find a suitable role for this player. And of course, they wouldn't be bringing players in if they weren't confident in the role they're going to be playing next season. So welcome Henry Woods to the Stones, of course, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in saying we look forward to having you for the next season. So everyone, there is all you need to know as the Maidstone United fan about the Stones' fourth signing of the summer, Henry Woods of Gillingham. Hopefully that has answered a few questions regarding his background and maybe what you could expect going into the National League campaign next year. However, if you haven't already checked it out, in the top right corner there, I have linked the All You Need to Know playlist, which includes sub 10-minute videos similar to this one, just detailing all the things that you need to know regarding the profile, background, and maybe what to expect for the Stones' new signings. We've of course got Sol Wanjo-Smith, Jack Cooley and Hadi Gandor are all in there already. So if you haven't checked them out, please do. And if you did enjoy this video, then please do leave a like below. And of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll be bringing you more content in the coming weeks and going into that new National League campaign next season. So once again, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.